Om Sai Ram. Chapter 7. Wonderful Incarnation, Behavior of Sai Baba, His Yogic Practices, His All-Pervasiveness and Mercy, Leper Devotees Service, Master Karpade's Plague Case, Going to Pandharpur. Wonderful Incarnation. Sai Baba knew all yogic practices. He was well versed in the 6 processes, including Dauti, Kanda Yoga, separating his limbs and joining them again, and Samadhi. If you think that he was a Hindu, he looked like a Yavan. If you think him to be a Yavan, he looked like a pious Hindu. No one definitely knew whether he was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. He celebrated the Hindu festival of Ram Navami with all due formalities and at the same time permitted the sandal procession of the Mohammedans. He encouraged wrestling bouts in this festival. When the Gokulashtami came, he got the Gopal Kala ceremony duly performed, and on the Eid festivals, he allowed the Mohammedans to say their prayers and namaz in his masjid. Once during a Muharram festival, some Mohammedans proposed to construct a tazia, a tabut, in the masjid, keep it there for some days, and afterwards take it in a procession through the village. Sai Baba allowed the keeping of the tabut for 4 days, and on the 5th day got it removed from the masjid without the least compunction. If we say he was a Mohammedan, his ears were pierced. If you think he was a Hindu, he advocated the practice of circumcision, though according to Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who observed him closely, he was not himself circumcised. White article Sai Leela Baba Hindu Ki Yavan by B.D. Dev, page 562. If you call him Hindu, he always lived in the masjid. If Mohammedan, he always had the duni, the sacred fire, burning. The following things which are contrary to Mohammedan religion: grinding of the handmill, blowing of the conch, the bells, oblation in the fire, bhajan, giving of food and worship of Baba's feet by means of argya were allowed there. If you think he was a Mohammedan, the best Brahmins and Agnihotris, leaving aside their orthodox ways, fell and prostrated at his feet. Those who went to make enquiries about him, about his caste, were dumbfounded and were captured by his darshan. So none could definitely decide whether Sai Baba was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. There is no wonder, for he who completely surrenders himself to the Lord by getting rid of his egoism and body consciousness thus becomes one with him and has nothing to do with any question of caste or nationality. Baba saw no difference between any two castes and even between beings. He took meat and fish with fakirs but did not grumble, while the dogs touched the dishes with their mouths. Such a unique and wonderful incarnation was Sai Baba. On account of the merits of my past birth, I had the good fortune to sit at his feet and enjoy his blessed company. The joy and delight I derived therefrom was incomparable. In fact, Sai Baba was pure Anand, consciousness. I cannot sufficiently describe him, his greatness and his uniqueness. He who was a delight, and to be in his feet was established in his own self. Many sannyasis, sadhakas, and all sort of men aspiring for salvation came to Sai Baba. He always walked, talked, and laughed with them, and always uttered Allah Malik, God is the sole owner. He never liked discussion or disputation. He always was calm and controlled. Though irritable at times, always preached Vedanta, and nobody knew till the last who was Baba. Princes and poor people were treated alike by him. He knew the inmost secrets of all, and when he gave expression to them, all were surprised. He was the repository of all knowledge, still he feigned ignorance. He also disliked honor. Such were the characteristics of Sai Baba. Though he had a human body, his deeds were testified of his godhood. All people considered him as God in Shirdi. Behavior of Sai Baba. Ignorant that I am, I cannot describe Baba's miracles. He got almost all the temples of Shirdi repaired. Through Tatya Patil, the temples of Shani, Ganapati, Shankar, Parvati, village deity and Maruti were put in order. His charity was also remarkable. The money he used to collect as dakshina were freely distributed, rupees 20 to some, to 15 to 50 others every day. People were immensely benefited by having Baba's darshan. Some became hale and hearty, wicked people turned into good ones. Kushtarogis, that is leprosy patients, were cured in some cases. Many got their desires fulfilled without any medicine being put in their eyes. Some blind men got back their sight. Some lame ones got their limbs. Nobody could see the end of his extraordinary greatness. His fame spread far and wide. The pilgrims from all sides flocked to Shirdi. But Baba had his asan near the Duni and always rested there. He sat there in meditation, sometime without a bath. He used to tie a small white turban on his head and wear a clean dhotar around his waist and a shirt on his body. This was his attire in the beginning. He first practiced medicine in the village, examined the patients, and gave medicines. He was always successful and he became famous as a Hakim, a doctor. A curious case may be narrated here. One devotee had his eyes quite red and swollen. No doctor was available in Shirdi. The other devotees took him to Baba. In such a case, other doctors would have used ointments, unguents, cow's milk, or camphorated drugs. Baba's remedy was quite unique. He pounded some biba and made the marking nets and made 2 balls of them and thrust them on each of the eye of the patient and wrapped a cloth, the bandage around them. Next day, the bandage was removed and the water was poured over them. The inflammation subsided and the pupils became white and clear. Though the eyes were very delicate, the biba cause did not have any hurt, removed the disease of the eyes. Many such cases were cured, and this is only one of the instances in this regard. Baba's yogic practices. Baba knew all the processes and practices of yoga. 2 of them are described here. Dauti Kriya or cleansing process. Baba went near a well near the banyan tree at a considerable distance from the masjid every 3rd day and washed his mouth and had a bath. On one such occasion, he was seen throwing out his intestine, clean them inside out, and place them on a jamun tree for drying. There are persons of Shirdi who have actually seen this and who have testified to this fact. Ordinarily, dauti is done by moisturizing a piece of linen 3 inches broad and 22 feet long. This piece is gulped in down the throat and allowed to remain in the stomach for about half an hour for being reached there and then taken out. But Baba's dauti was quite unique and extraordinary. The Khanda Yoga. In this practice, Baba extracted the limbs from his body and left them separately at different places at the masjid. Once a gentleman went to the masjid and saw the limbs of Baba lying at separate places. He was much terrified. He first thought that running to the village officer and informing them that Baba has been hacked to pieces and murdered. He thought that he would be held responsible as he was the first informant and knew something about this affair. So he kept silent. But the next day when he went to masjid, he was very much surprised to see that Baba was hale and hearty as before. He thought that what he had seen the previous day was only a dream. Baba practiced yoga since his infancy and nobody knew or guessed the proficiency he attained. He charged no fees for his cures, became renowned and famous by virtue of his merits, gave health to many poor and suffering people. This famous doctor of doctors cared not for his interests, but always worked for the good and welfare of others, himself suffering unbearable and terrible pain many a time in the process. One such instance is given below, which will show that the all-pervasive and most merciful characteristic of Baba. Baba's all-pervasiveness and mercy. In the year 1910, Baba was sitting near the Dhuni on a Diwali day and warming himself. He was pushing firewood into the Dhuni, which was brightly burning. A little later, instead of pushing logs of wood, he pushed his arm into the Dhuni. The arm was scorched and burned. This was noticed by the errand boy Madhav and also by Madhavrao Deshpande alias Shama. They at once ran to Baba. Madhavrao clasped Baba by his waist from behind and dragged him forcibly backwards. And I asked, Deva, for what have you done this? Then Baba came to his senses and replied, the wife of a blacksmith at some distance was working in the bellows of the furnace. Her husband called her. Forgetting that her child was on her lap, she got up hastily and the child slipped into the furnace. I immediately thrust my hand into the furnace and saved the child. I do not mind my arm being burned, but I am glad the little life of the child was saved. Leper devotees service. On hearing the news of Baba's hand being burned from Madhavrao Deshpande, Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, accompanied by the famous Dr. Parmanand of Mumbai, with his medical outfit consisting of ointments, lint, bandages, rushed to Shirdi and requested Baba to allow Mr. Parmanand to examine the arm and dress the wound caused by the burn. This was refused. Ever since the burnt arm was dressed up by the leper devotee, Bayoji Shinde. His treatment consisted in massaging the burnt part with ghee and then placing a leaf over it and bandaging it tightly. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar solicited Baba many a time to unfasten the bandage and get the wound examined and dressed and treated by Dr. Parmanand, with the object that it may heal fast. Dr. Parmanand himself made similar requests, but Baba postponed, saying that Allah was his doctor and did not allow his arm to be examined. Dr. Parmanand's medicines were not exposed to the air of Shirdi and they remained intact, but he had the good fortune of getting the darshan of Baba. Bayoji was allowed to treat the hand daily. After some days, the arm healed and all were very happy. Still, we do not know whether any trace of pain was left or not. Every morning, Bayoji went through this program of untying the bandage, massaging the arm with ghee, and tightly tying the bandage again. This went on till Baba's Samadhi. Sai Baba, a perfect Siddha as he was, did not need any medicine or treatment. But out of love for his devotees, he allowed the Upasana, the service of Bayoji, to go uninterrupted all along. When Baba started for Lendi, Bayoji held the umbrella over him and accompanied him. Every morning when Baba sat near the post close to Duni, Bayoji was present and started his service. Bayoji was a sinner in the past birth. He was suffering from leprosy. His fingers were shrunk, his body was full of pus and smelling badly. Though outwardly he seemed unfortunate, he was very fortunate, for he was happy that he was the premier servant of Baba and got the benefit of his company. Master Karpade's plague case. I shall now relate another instance of Baba's wonderful Leela. Mrs. Karpade, the wife of Mr. Dadasaheb Karpade of Amravati, was staying in Shirdi with her young son for some days. One day the son got high fever, which further developed into bubonic plague. The mother was frightened and felt most uneasy. She thought of leaving the place for Amravati and went near Baba in the evening, when he was coming near the Wada in the evening rounds for asking for his permission. She informed him in a trembling tone that her dear young son was down with plague. Baba spoke kindly and softly to her, saying that the sky is beset with clouds but will melt and pass off, and everything will be smooth and clear. So saying, he lifted his kafni up to the waist and showed all the present people 4 fully developed buboes, that is big egg-like, added, "See how I have to suffer for my devotees. Their difficulties are mine." Seeing this unique and extraordinary deed, the people were convinced as to how the saints suffer pains for their devotees. The mind of the saint is softer than wax. It is soft in and out as butter. Their love, therefore, their devotees without any idea of gain and regard them as their own true relatives. Going to Pandharpur. I shall now close this chapter after relating a story illustrating how Sai Baba loved his devotees and anticipated their wishes and movements. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who was a great devotee of Sai Baba, was Mahalatlar at Nandarpur in Khandesh. He got an order of transfer to Pandharpur. His devotion to Sai Baba bore fruit as he got an order to go and stay in Pandharpur, which is regarded as Bhuloka Vaikunta, Bhuvaikuntha, that is heaven on earth. Nana Sahib had to take immediate charge, so he left the place without any writing or informing anybody at Shirdi. He wanted to give a surprise visit at Shirdi, his Pandharpur, and see and salute Vithoba, that is Baba, and then proceed further. Nobody knew of Nana Sahib's departure from Shirdi, but Sai Baba knew all about it, as his eyes were everywhere. He was omniscient. As soon as Nana Sahib approached Nimgaon, a few miles from Shirdi, there was a stir in the masjid at Shirdi. Baba was sitting and talking with Malsapati, Appa Shinde, and Kashiram, when he at once said, "Let us all 4 do some bhajan. The doors of Pandari are open. Let us merrily sing." Then they began to sing in chorus. The bhava of the song was, I have to go to Pandharpur and I have to stay there, for it is the house of my Lord. Baba sang and the devotees followed him. After a short while, Nana Sahib came there with his family, prostrated before Baba, and requested him to accompany them to Pandharpur and stay with them there. This solicitation was not necessary, as the devotees told Nana Sahib that Baba was already in a mood to go to Pandharpur and stay there. Hearing this, Nana Sahib was moved and fell at Baba's feet. Then, after getting Baba's permission and Udi and blessings, Nana Sahib left for Pandharpur. There is no end to Baba's stories, but let me now make a halt here, reserving for the next chapter other topics such as importance of human life, Baba's living on alms, Baijabai's services, and other stories. Bo to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.